Hi, Andy back in the cave. New project. Going to try and do something a bit different. Not different, it is different to what I normally do, but different in a different layout, a different format. Instead of making something and then showing you what I've made afterwards, I'm going to try and bring you along with the journey. Trying to do it this way because I've got this affliction called get shit done titus, and I just haven't got the patience often to video, do things, show you how they're going along the way. I just want to get something made, and then at the end I go, hey, I've made something cool, and maybe I should make a video about it. So this time I'm going to try and make the video with you and show you how we go, mistakes, warts and all. And if it doesn't work at the end, well, I'll still put it on and we'll see how I've failed miserably. So, project this time is one of my hobbies, is practical shooting, in particular practical shotgun. It's a bit like clay pigeon shooting, but instead of the clay going pew and then you're shooting it at the sky, the target is stationary and you move around shooting it. It's pretty flexible and open for the formats. I don't want to bore you with the details, but what I want to do is back to the clay pigeon. I haven't got one here. I'll show you on the next cut. Instead of having a stationary object, I want something that's activated, so it'll throw a clay up in the air that you can shoot. I know what you're thinking. That's not unusual. I've seen them all the time. The clay and the clay pigeons that flings them for miles and they're straight up along the ground. This one's slightly different. What I need is something that just pops the clay vertically but not too high. Our particular shooting ground is I've got a backstop of maybe, I don't know, 25 feet high, so I only want something that pops something up maybe 10 or 15 feet, not particularly high, and straight up. A normal clay launcher is a swinging arm that catapults something for God knows how far. I just want something that pops up. Things I really kind of want is reasonably light, because it's going to get moved around and picked up and shoved around during the day, possibly taken home. I want it ideally remote operated, so it could either a person or where I want to go is a foot trigger. So yeah, take out your targets, last target, stamp on the pedal, pops up, pew. That would be nice. Safe. So it was number one priority apparently, and reliable. So I've already been mucking about, not a lot. I'm trying to take you on the journey. I've been mucking around, not with the full design. I want to try and make this cheap. I want to try and make it out of bits that I've got lying around, which again, apologies for the state of this place. I've got many projects on at the same time, and including the kitchen refit. The place is a flea pit. So I've been working on the release mechanism of how to do that. Starting to formulate a plan of how I want to do it with scraps. So initial thing I've got a bit of, what's that, 5mm steel plate. I want to try and mount everything on top of that. Release mechanism. So I was looking at an electronic release. This is basically just like a door catch solenoid valve. That was the first instance I've ponned over, but it's weak. It's very feeble and weak. You can get bigger solenoids, but the price goes up. So next thing idea was to use something based on a linear actuator. That's just a receiver box which I've cobbled together, 18650 battery pack, and a switch. This receiver is linked to, let's have a look, a button. This will be a part of the build, separate build. I want to mount this inside some kind of housing that you can jump on, stamp on, throw across the room, and it's not going to shatter this little rubbish plasticky button. So switch it on like that, press the button, then your actuator moves backwards as some sort of release. Thing with this though, it can be set up as a toggle switch, momentary. I've got it set up so you press the button and it draws it back. that's your release. So it doesn't matter how quickly or slowly you press it, you don't have to hold it. The clay is going to launch. However, this is connect, and then to reset it, go back to neutral, and then this switch took a weird bit of looking to find out how I wanted to do it. So this, although it looks like a normal toggle switch, it's off center, latch on one side, momentary the other side. So I've got an on for when it's using the button, and then when you want to reset, it goes to the center, but it goes forward, rocks forward, so put it back, but as soon as you let go, it rests back in the off position. So you've got a momentary one direction, which springs back to off, and then back to arm when it's ready. And that's basically where I start with the release. I've made a housing to put the electronics in, 3D printed and designed. I'm assuming you don't want to see my workflow and sitting on a CAD modeling a box. Obviously got that set up ready to go with a couple of lights, one that goes inside, and that's, I've started to muck about with the release mechanism. So this is the way I'm looking at. Obviously I've done a demo for 3D printed in plastic, just a proof of concept. What I'm looking at is having something, this machine out of aluminium or steel, I'll make it, including the release. The linear actuator will sit behind this part of the mushroom, stopping it from move up. When the clay spring-loaded, launchy thing part of it will have something better than a bit of string, probably, hooked on there, under tension, ready to fly off. When this draws back, moves out the way, that will allow that to release and fling the clay up in the sky. What I'm looking at doing, fairly simply, it's going to be very Heath Robinson. Again, scraps I've got lying around. I've got a couple of bits of L-angle steel here, which I've wrapped up. I was thinking of basically welding a couple of sticks here, a couple of sticks there with a guide in, and then using something like this TheraBand. It's like it's when you've got physiotherapy, or you can use it for muscle training. It's excellent stuff. It makes brilliant catapults. It's some kind of elastic. Having that wrapped over the top on two shuttle guides almost, push it down, lock it onto the trigger mechanism, then arm it, pew. It's something to adjust the tension on it. So that's kind of the route I'm going. This is what I've got so far. A couple of scabby bits of metal, a half-made circuit, and a plastic box. I think the first thing I'm going to do is probably machine the release mechanism, and then I'll build the cradle and the launch guides around that. If I go the other way, I might find out I run out of space, so I'll try and make this out of probably aluminium because it's quicker to machine. I mean, we're not making a spaceship here, we're making something to throw a piece of clay 20 feet in the sky. And we'll start from there. So cue change of clothes in a different timeline, and on the machines we'll start tinkering with something. So first thing we're going to do is we may as well finish off the box. I want to extend this wire, so I've got a little bit more play on where it goes on the box. Get the switch mounted in there. I've got a couple of LED lights on there to indicate what's going on. So we may as well finish that. First things first, we'll extend. So we'll extend the cables. So that. These are just some scrap wires from the annealing project that I did. We'll make use of what we've got. There's not a lot of current running through this, so they don't have to be 10mm cross section or anything crazy. here. Should have some music, shouldn't we? Ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, ding, dang, walla, walla, bing, bang. Shrink. Shorten it. Put that back. Right. Because obviously we're going positive and negative. Everybody knows the universal colours for positive and negative are blue and green. So let's make, we'll go blues positive, shall we? Like that. I've got a good friend who's an electronics genius, and he quite often comments on my soldering and how woeful it is. Oh, my blues positive. Yeah, why not? Just got a little butt joint here. One, and should get one of those little helping hand things that holds stuff together while you're soldering it. Well, melt. Let's hold it. Not very well. Let's get a little bit more of the iron. It's the journey, isn't it? That's better. Slip that over. Melted, and then we'll have a nice sheath over the lot. And again, roll. Come on, little fella. Spin, spin. There we go. I do like a nice dispenser that doesn't dispense. It's going to be sticking out, that's going to be inside. Oh dear. Shoot the whole lot. Will it fit? Will it blend? That's a good search if you ever bought on the internet. Quite old now. Will it blend? Some crazy scientist dude putting things through a high power blender. It's quite satisfying. It'll go on. Go on. Slightly bigger heat shrink probably would have been made this easier. just an extra layer of protection for the cables, and looks nicer really black, especially when someone wants to come and disarm it. Do they cut the red or the black, or in this case the blue or the green? I always wondered that when someone makes a bomb in the films. Why do those have flashing lights? Why don't they make all the cables the same colour? Surely that would be much harder to disarm if everything was the same colour instead of nicely handily cut. I mean, I suppose when they're making it, it makes, you know, that doesn't go down there. Let's split this. It's held in with a sheath and I can stagger that crap vagina I've made. Start again. Come on, little fella. There we go. Through the hole. Right. And then I'll split it. I can stagger that joint until it gets through. Go on. Go on. I'm going to give up on this. Oh, it was hung up on that. And we're off. To the races? No, just have somewhere where I can stick a wire through another wire. See, this is another reason sometimes I make something and then show it after, because I'm sure you don't want to hear me jibber jabbering and talking rubbish. Maybe you do. I don't know. Where are the other one yet? How far? Oh, so close. So close I can almost taste it. I bet when you clicked on this you didn't think, hey, I'm going to learn how to make some kind of crazy clay launcher. But instead what you get is some dude trying to stuff 2 wires through some sheath which is clearly too small. Want to draw the other one? No. Oh, one of them's there. Can't be far away. I've had a look around on the Tinterweb and thought it might be easy to buy one of these, but I'll be honest, I couldn't find any kind of clay launcher. There we go. Doesn't that look lovely? Right, this is going to go in here, so I want it to pop out the side, so I need a little hole. Let's go for a 4mm bit. See if a 4mm bit's big enough. Let's make it bigger, can't make it smaller. That's a connect to that. Just out this front edge I want. Let's go here. Let's stick it in there, the middle, let's go about there. Mash a hole. It's not going the other way. Probably not. Now, I did originally make another lid for this, which matches perfectly, which is great, but this is going to be used outside, so I redesigned it with like a little lip, so when it sits over the top, it comes down the side, just kind of help keep the water out of it. Not that it's planned to be used in monsoons or flash floods or anything like that, but we live in England, it's always wet here. So let's just try and keep things a little bit drier. Is that going to fit in there? Is my heat shrink going to fit? Feels like it will. Tight, snug. That's what we like, isn't it? Tight. Tight. Maybe 4.5mm might have been better. 4.5mm. Shall I make it a little bit bigger? Let's go 4.5. I know I like it tight. Put the drill bit in the drill proper. And if we want to make it a little bit more secure, we could put some hot melt on that join after I've got it through. Better go on a little fast. Starting to get a bit raggy on the end. Getting harder. If you're wondering what that funny noise is, funny enough, what we're talking about, it's raining outside. Oh, away. Throws it on. Oh, I don't know. It's already out. Make that a little bit. Shrink that on the end. Might help it go through. There we go, and we're off. Right, screws out. Don't need them there right now. So, what I'm going to use on the inside is a little bit of, just a bit of double-sided tape to hold everything down. See, it's not traveling around the world. Yeah, certainly not good. Excuse me. Crikey Moses, excuse me. Stick that in there. Oh, it's a nice fit. And then this one's gonna go here. A little bit on the bottom of that. This double-sided gel tape, very good. Sticks to anything. You get a really nice version made by 3M, which is about £4 million a roll. This is somebody else's. You don't need that lug on the side so you can get a bit tight there. Get rid of that. Right. Watch your eyes. Stick that there. Nice little receiver and doodaddy bit. And then this, what did I say? Blue was positive. Put that back in the hole. Underneath the little leg. And that one is go negative. Pokey pokey. A little bit more on that. Probably should have rewired this before I stuck it in the tiny little hole. Make my life easier. That's all that connect. Sanity check, does it work? Yeah. Switch it on. Button. Back in the bag, over there. Switch it off. And then the reset. Lovely. Right, lights. So reset is gonna go to one. So resets on this side. That's the positive. Just a bit. Solder. Or if you're in America, solder. I'm sure there's an L in solder. Why do you call it solder? SOLDER, solder. Oh, unless in America you spell it differently. It is actually solder, but it sounds a bit weird. Anywho. There's a lot of things that the Americans do crazy. I mean, vote for Trump's one of them. Sorry. Jesus. Definitely one of those helpy hand things. But on you, and then I'll do you while we're here. So the other one. Right, I've got the right one there. Reset goes to the positive. So this is a 2-position momentary switch, but it's a 6 2 pull, 6 connections. So basically you've got your main incoming on the center, and then depending on the orientation of the switch, it'll either connect both pulls, positive and the negative, to one side or the other side. So basically I've got a permanent live when it's on, and then it's in the opposite direction when it connects it on the momentary way, swaps the polarity basically to draw it back. Couldn't be simpler. Just pop this on here with the other cable. Now, unfeasibly tremendous soldering. Yep, that one. Support it with my little finger, solder with the holder of the other fingers. Good job I've got loads of fingers. I love my fingers. I just can't press very hard. There we go. Melt. And I've taken the other one off of it. Taking the white? Nope. Should really join these together and put them on as a pair. Back to that impatience thing. I'm sure there's going to be lots of people wondering, where on earth did I learn to solder? And I think that is the issue. I never did. I soldered very hot enough. Yep, got a good hold, that's one, and then flip it over and bone it. On the other side, what a really soldering iron. That might help. Where's the positive? There we go. Positive on this side. That's better. Just needed to clean. That wasn't good. It was too good. Let's try and put these both on together. More fingers, that's what I need. There we go. That one down. There we are, our last one. Son of a bitch. Do it again. Hold them together, put them on as a pair. Definitely need more fingers. That's stuck. Yep. Right. Moment of truth. Oh, press it the right way. Reset, lights, and then armed. Red means danger, impending doom. Pew, skadoosh, pating, and then reset. Sweet as a nut. And then just gonna mount this. Don't need all that solder in there. Get it the right way around, which is that way. What I would like, everything's lovely and, well, I would say watertight. We'll call it IPM 2. Would be like a rubber, you can get for toggle switches, like a rubber boot, makes them waterproof. but for some reason this switch seems to be some really bizarre cockeyed thread I can't find one for. So at some point, what would be nice is just change this switch for something a little bit bigger, something that's IP rated, and then the whole box will be nice and watertight. It's fairly square, so it'll tuck in stuff, goes over there, crank that down, some screws in, just put them in finger tight for the moment, because I'm sure it'll be back in here soon, rewiring it, because one of my solder joints has fallen off. Why don't you? There we go. Oh, lovely. There's the thing. Reset. Armed. Ready to fire. Pow! Excellent. Safe. Well, that's that bit done. Come back up here. Wrong way. There you are. I think next thing after that, we can put that to one side and forget about it. And we'll now start working on machining a few bits for the release mechanism. I was talking before about how this, let's come back down. This bit I wanted to sit under there. I mean, this is reasonably strong. It's really strong, but it's 150 newtons, so it's got plenty of pull on it. But obviously this is, you know, made in China. This is pressed tin. There's going to be a bit of force pushed on that. And I think that will damage it over time. So I'm going to make like a little pillow block with a pin in it that this draws back. That pillow block machined out of metal will be nice and firm. I might even put a linear bearing in it so it's got nice slides back and forth, and that'll take all the force of this. So there's no undue force on this, it's just linear like it's designed to be. So that should stop that from breaking. I did look at a couple of different releases, like something to draw it out the way and let it flip up, a bit like a mouse trap, but this way seems pretty simple. Looks pretty reliable, so I think for the time being anyway, this may change. We'll go down that route. We'll make that. We'll make the pillow block. We'll attach it to this and see if that works. That'll be the next venture. Okie dokie.